Good morning, good morning, good morning. How was everyone today? Lovely day. Love you, love you, love you. Love you, love you, love you, right? Super cool. Welcome, come on. Come ye, come all, right? Which actually sounds really, really bad. But anyway, so happy Saturday. Let's see, what are some fun topics to get to? I want to let everyone know. Okay, so because the last week or so, the emails have been completely tailored to promoting the webinar event that we're doing Wednesday, not everyone's received every single update as we normally would, right? Like the emails normally had, hey, this is what we're working on, this is what we've completed, and kind of like broadcast messages. Everyone know this, know this, know this. But in lieu of that, and of course, everyone doesn't always attend all the different meetings and read all the different emails or watch all the replays. So we try to be omnipresent, right? Like we're everywhere. If you want to find us, you can, but it doesn't mean that everyone's going to find us every single day. That being said, there are some updates that I'd like to share with everyone. One of the coolest, greatest, best updates ever that I could ever be so happy to ever share with anyone, ever, ever, ever. Right? Everyone's on there. Everyone's on the edge of their seat. The bot automations are working, and they're actually perfect. I always knew I'd say that sentence, but the process of invention is, it is difficult, right? Like, so everyone knows we've been on this bot for, I think, maybe 4 months now. And the cool part about it is, well, when you're inventing something from scratch, nobody else has it. It's just yours. And the difficulties and challenges were, many, but one of the, hey Deb, greetings from Palm Bay. One of the more obvious challenges were that not everyone went ahead and inputted their wallet address. Hey Frida, not everyone inputted their wallet address. In which case, to input your wallet address, you needed your login to work. And the logins didn't work for everyone as well, because when we launched RHINO, and this is something I kind of want to say out loud because I just got a not nice email from somebody that's been attending all of our lives and really one of the nicer people you could meet, or at least I thought it was. Things are going to go wrong. Not everything is going to go perfectly. And the reason I say that is not because I'm being facetious, right? Like, hey, things go wrong, right? No, it's actually something very, very much more structured, much more structurally, I guess. And what I mean by that is because when we launched, we said we were going to open it up to everyone, that we were going to build this together, that we were not going to be a private company that took private money and said, okay, wait for us in a year and then we'll let you know that we're ready. And in doing so, when you take private money and just grow behind the scenes and then go ahead and go public, what happens is the people that make all the money are the big donors in the beginning. Because if the IDO actually works, like RHINO has been, obviously, then they were able to get in at fractions. And then when it goes live, they're able to kind of set their price because, hey, everything's perfect, here you go. But what that disqualified was all the people that we are. We wanted to open it up and allow everyone to go ahead and participate at whatever level they wanted during the whole entire process. There's good and bad of that. See, large investors and wealthy individuals know something that unwealthy people don't know, that it's not the challenges that dissuade you, it's the solutions that dissuade you. Like if the individual comes into challenges, fine, that's a good thing. But if they're inept and don't have solutions, then you leave them. And as long as they're able to go ahead and apply solutions and come up with solutions, then it's just a matter of how long does it take. And if it's just a matter of how long something takes, well, then it's where what's it called? It's the opportunity cost of money. Meaning, well, I could leave my money in the bank account and get maybe 1% if I'm really lucky, or I could go ahead and fund this venture with a team that is solving along the way, which means that they're going to get to the outcome that they want to get to. It's just a matter of how long. Well, if I know they're going to get to it, and I know that I can invest it here, and the outcome is worth this, and if that number is higher than 1%, well, then I'm very comfortable doing it, which is why wealthy individuals stay wealthy, because they understand that one thing. And conversely, And it's not derogatory. It's not like an indictment of people that aren't wealthy. It's just that they haven't had life experiences that would have went ahead and produced a lot of investment experience, right? So when things aren't going exactly perfectly, someone that has not been involved with the experience of building from the ground up, they would say, hey, this isn't working, this isn't working. I'm really getting frustrated, not liking this. You obviously don't want me here, I'm leaving, which is kind of what the email said that I got. And the part that I want to remind is we had we had the choice. What we could have said was, all right, nobody's involved, only the big wealthy people that want to back it. And then when everything's perfect, we'll go ahead and relaunch and everyone will be happy. There'll never be anyone that's upset. But and you might be saying, Ant, well, that actually kind of sounds kind of good. But what's the cost, right? What is RHINO worth at that point? Is RHINO worth $10 a token? Is it worth $20 a token? I don't know. But I know that everyone here has gotten involved as low as 1 penny 2 years ago. I know everyone here got involved on a public level since $1 in October. So what I very politely said to this gentleman was, I understand that you could be frustrated with how things are moving, but you also got to remember you're being compensated to accept that level of frustration. You're being compensated to accept that there are challenges that are being faced because the value of the token that you're purchasing now is leagues and very leagues less than what others are going to be purchasing down the road. So for instance, if you can go ahead and get in at $1 and $2 and say, okay, well, this didn't work, I have to email them, I'll wait a week for it to work. And then a year from now, when it's 10 and 20 bucks, you look back and say, well, I got it in 1 or 2. It kind of cost me an email or two, but that was a good decision. Or the individual could say, all right, well, man, you know what, I don't care about money. Money is not a thing to me. I just want a platform that works. Great, come back in a year, right? Like, God bless, we want you here, but if you don't want to be, that's fine as well. And I just want to say that out loud because I do believe that sometimes we're victims of our own success. And I think sometimes people could say, well, I'm waiting for the big push, or I'm waiting for this, or I'm waiting for some momentum to pick up. And the reality is we're up 240% in like 3 months. I know because I don't run around jumping up and down about it. I may give the mistake that that's not a big accomplishment, but it is. In the last 3 months, we've only had 3 days that we were down at all. That's 87 days that we were up during FTX crash and the whole crypto market going insane. Well, the Fed's raising rates and everyone's kind of like having income anxiety and all the rest. No one's had anxiety here. There's not a single person that's been like, oh my God, I own RHINO. This is such a bad idea. And there's a certain, there's a sentence like, act as if you've been there before, right? Like you don't go ahead and celebrate things that are only, on the path to where you want to get. And you got to keep even keel. You don't get too high on the high times. You don't get too low on the low times. So anyway, I kind of just want to point that out today. But actually, so let me rewind to what I wanted to share beforehand was that the automations are working. Now the challenge is over the last 2 or 3 weeks, minus this week, right? So the previous 2-3 weeks before this last 7-day period, there are some that did not receive their tokens. Now, a good majority of those people have emailed me, and we've since sent over the balances. In fact, my wife, who looked at her account yesterday, was like, I haven't got anything in like 35 days, but I got some today. I'm like, well, that's great. It's working. She goes, well, what about the last 35 days? I'm like, do we not live together? Like, ay. So I don't know if she knows, but I see her on the live. I did go ahead and send you your tokens too. And if anyone is curious, I actually calculated it to be the real price. Whether you're my wife or not, it's that strict. So that's that. So everyone, when you have a moment, take a look over the last 2-3 week period. If you feel like you're missing something, and you would know it by not seeing, like you would see no sends coming in. Just email me, let me know. I want to get everything out to everyone. But actually to go ahead and touch on the login issue, which kind of was the precipice of why I'm saying this, because we had to go ahead and input everyone's wallet addresses manually, because some people weren't able to log in because of login issues. And I guess what kind of set me down this road in the beginning was when we started and we just launched it, we wanted to get everyone in as possible. Everyone join. we've made this commitment. We're all going to do this together. In which case, if you remember, we didn't have passwords, which actually someone's like, Anthony, it's cute, like what you're doing, but you need passwords. This is like financial stuff. And I was like, okay, fine, geez, you're so lame. So I went ahead and, we coded passwords into it, which actually you would think, because so many things have passwords, it's an easy thing. It's not, it's not even close to easy. It's like, because it's got to be secure and encrypted and blah, 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 blah. And when you're creating the platform from scratch, you have to do that stuff. Anyway, so obviously, as you know, we accomplished that. But the people that were in before the password had to then go ahead and still use their account and press the button that they lost their password and the password had to be sent to them. And that process was so antiquated that I don't know if I could say we messed it up, but like it didn't work like we wanted it to. So some people got very frustrated and they're like, we're just, this isn't working. Like it's not. But their reoccurrings were still happening, which is actually a total credit to the system we built, that the subscription is automated. And even if people aren't pleased with the performance in a day-to-day basis, the friction for them to go ahead and cancel their subscriptions allows them that kind of cool-off period. Like, oh, I can't stand Anthony, I can't stand RHINO, let me cancel this. Okay, let me get to the site, let me go ahead and during that period, it's a cool-off period. It's actually what Twitter has offered. When you go ahead and write a tweet, they give you 30 seconds to undo the tweet, which you would think is so silly. Like I'm going to change my mind in 30 seconds. Do you know how many times I've changed my mind in 30 seconds? In fact, I was texting my wife the other day and she asked me a question and I didn't have a pleasant response, but it's your wife, so you speak pleasantly. But whatever that line is, I kind of like tiptoed over it. So I wrote it to her. And then like 30 seconds later, I run to the computer because Apple has the ability where you could edit messages. And like I edited it. And it tells the person that you edited it, right? But they don't know what you wrote beforehand. And I will take that to the grave with me. But the point being, there is a natural cool-off period that us humans have. And we we obviously didn't do it on purpose. You have to manually cancel a plan. It's not like you could zap it out of your head or something. But in doing so, that cool-off period actually comes to force. And what we've learned is that cool-off period has allowed a very, very large percentage that have equally said they were not happy with something, but still stayed with RHINO. I would say about 95%. And there's a lot of components to that, but they all work hand in hand together. So through this process, what I can say is anybody that joins RHINO today, like a new person, all of their coin is deposited in real time. They'll never have a login issue. The app and everything works perfectly for them, which kind of sounds like, Ant, okay, great, I've been here. How come I don't have those luxuries too? And it's not that you don't. You could easily close your account and create a new one and have all of those. But in constantly testing what we had to do, we had to uniformly create last paid dates. So for instance, say Bill and Deborah and Eve and Frida their subscription were on different days. Well, to go ahead and test that their accounts worked, we weren't going to do 350 different tests of different people over different time periods. We just, in the code, unified it all and said, everyone paid on this date last, whatever. In which case, now going forward, the date of your coin distribution and the date of your transaction is always going to be within 7 days of each other. And again, you could change this by canceling your account and opening a new one. Or you could probably even message me, and as long as you're willing to wait 2 weeks for that to recycle, I could probably do that as well. So there's, it's not like you're handcuffed to that. But the point is, everyone going forward is everything's done and it's perfect, and we love that. Because what the next steps are, so everyone knows that we have the Kartra platforms, and what that allows us, and we just finished the integrations that allow, it's so difficult thinking. So we finished, it's like, you would think I'm like a tech person. I'm not, never even close, never been. Okay, so the Kartra integrations allow us to go ahead and offer the platform via Kartra. And then once you go ahead and select the platform via Kartra, it then takes that, zaps it over to Stripe, and then codes it as an active subscription, which then allows the bot to go through the Stripe and be able to identify that to send the coin to. Also, we went ahead and coded the dashboard that that individual that signs up via Kartra, which everyone's going to be going forward, in the thank you email will be told to then go to the dashboard, which everyone has, and there's a new plan now. It's called, and I don't know if it's in today, but it's going to be called Kartra Sign Up, in which case the individual can create the login, can update their wallet address, can get the receipts and the transaction log without signing up through Stripe. And I don't know if that was like totally confusing, but just stick with me on this. What that allows us to do. See, everything we do, we plan for the future. Now, obviously, if we're successful, which I have a really, really good idea that we're going to be, well, it stands fair to reason that we might piss some people off, right? Like if we have a token that's going through the roof and it's absorbing funds from other investments, and we have a very populist message, and we start putting Wall Street on notice, and people and people and people. Well, if I show up like Anthony committed suicide, that never happened. I never ever will. So don't believe it. But secondly, it stands fair to reason that Stripe might say, oh, someone, say JP Morgan goes to Stripe and they say, hey, listen, why don't you just shut them down because all of their data is with you? In which case we'd be really effed, right? Like if Stripe just said, we're shutting you down, we'd have a real problem because everything's with Stripe. So for old accounts, you're saying it's better to cancel and subscribe as a new lead into Kartra, right? I'm saying that after Wednesday, if you were to do that, everything would be crisp. The only difference is right now, and I don't mean to say, okay, have a mass exodus, right? The only difference is going to be that the current account that you have now, the coin deposit and the transaction will guaranteed always be within 7 days because everyone has unified last pay dates. If you went ahead and closed your account and opened a new one, the coin and your payment would be on the same date. That's the only difference. In which case, we're probably even going to solve that going forward. So I don't want to alarm anyone, right? Like if you want to, God bless. Anyway, so what I was saying was, so that gives a lot of leverage to Stripe. That puts us in a very vulnerable position because say even anyone that was like, hey, Stripe, we'll give you $5 million to just shut those people down. They could, and that would be a real problem. So the move to Kartra, what it allows us to do is we use Kartra as a facilitator, in which case we could pick the merchant account on the end, right? So we have a very good account with JP Morgan. We have a merchant account with them. We have a very good account with Stripe, which by the way, we've never had a dispute ever in our entire history. And we have over 6,000 transactions. So we're like one of their really good clients. We have an account with them. We have the same thing with Square. We have the same thing with PayPal, and we can open a merchant account anytime we want from anyone because they like us. The point being, we're now not beholden to any one entity. And I guess in that sentence, Kartra kind of, we're beholden to them, but we could have redundant processes there as well because once you're in Kartra, it's all of your data, you own it. So you could move it over. So we'll have a plan B for that as well. But now we're really in a very good position. So that's what all that coding was for. So the point being, it's like, yeah, Ant, you're doing all the stuff that you don't need at the moment. Yeah, I know that. But when we have something that's scaling and going through the roof and everyone says, what is this? And we start PISSing off some people, we need to be able to maneuver as well. Also, the search, RHINO search, RHINO Street. I'm sorry, I'm in deep thought right now. We went ahead and finished, well, we didn't finish it, but it will be finished next week, the coding for all businesses to actually input their exact address. So 123 Maiden Lane in New York City, 1001. And what that will allow them to do is when I go onto RHINO Street and I'm searching, say I'm searching for a pizza spot, that map that comes up is going to have the pins in it for each individual pizza spot as per the distance they are from you, like Google has, right? But without using Google software. Again, if we're going to compete with Google, we're not going to use their software. We had to code that ourselves, which is a really, really great thing because if you're the search is only within a 20-mile radius, and meaning everyone in a 20-mile radius probably has 1 or 2 or 3 of the same zip codes, which means as of now, if there's 7 pizza spots, there's like 7 pins in one spot because they share the same zip code. So that is now upgraded and updated. And people may say, Ant, you have like 600 businesses over the entire globe. Do you really need that? No, I don't. We don't need that today. Do we need that a year from now if we want to be taken seriously as a search? Yeah, we do. When Rhino Bucks goes to the moon and back, do we want that so that people say, hey, what is this Rhino Bucks? Oh, that's the token for Rhino Street. What's Rhino Street? Oh, it's the world's only local search engine with no ads, no marketing, no data tracking, just honest, safe search results. Okay, cool, let's go check it out. And then they get somewhere and it's like a complete dud. So these things work hand in hand. What we wanted Rhino Street to be the lightning rod that brought people to Rhino Bucks, but that doesn't seem to be the case. It seems like Rhino Bucks is going to be the lightning rod to bring people to Rhino Street. And I had a lot of conversation with our various teams yesterday. Most of them are on this call right now. And we have, it's planned going forward, so it's all in good hands. Rhino is at another all-time high today, 244.94, something like that. Also, what I have found that's very, it's sometimes a little offsetting how good things are going. And what I mean by that is you have a market in Rhino that's up, 245% over 3 months. And the next sentence I'm going to say to you is, it seems a bit counterintuitive. Well, people have just stopped selling Rhino altogether. Now, the people that were selling, I knew who they were. And they had a finite amount and they were doing it for personal reasons. Fine, God bless. But now we're having just a lack of selling altogether because everyone that's part of Rhino is like, I see Anthony every day. I know what we're doing. I know where we're going. Why would I? Which I'm not saying to change because that allows me that all of the recurrings that are coming in, I could then start putting to the coin in terms of market cap. I could start adding liquidity, which I started doing today. So if no one's selling, the money doesn't go in like Anthony's pocket, right? Like it goes into the coin. So right now, I think it's like 64,000 in there. It'll be 65, 70, 80, 90. And that's where the coin is exhausted. So if you ever want to know, well, how do we know when the coin's getting exhausted? It's in that market cap. So when you see that get to like $1 billion or something, we're there. And the point of me saying that it's a bit counterintuitive is like when something's going up, you would think people go ahead and sell it. Oh, it's up, I'm profitable. But the system and design that we did from day one in terms of limiting the raise to only a cent per day, if even that, allows such a sturdy, dependable journey or a path that is never too good that someone's like, oh my God, it's up 10%. I better take some profit because they think, well, if I'm thinking this, someone else is thinking it, and I want to do it before they do. And it never goes down, say, 1% or 2%. So no one's ever like, what happened? So as long as you stay the course, and it goes to a sentence that when I was in the stock market, the goal of any broker or investment advisor or whatever is like, you want to make your clients $1 bazillion, right? Like I want to make them millions and millions. I want them to hit home runs. And actually a real story. So I had this one client who, he's worth more than God, right? And I was like, I'm really going to impress him. I'm going to do it. And I made him, I think like 77% in a week. So I was trading options, which are, for those that know options, they're very, very risky. And I was like, I couldn't wait to get on the phone with him. It was only a $10,000 account, but he had like millions and millions, and I was going to get him to bring it in, right? Like this was going to be the moment. So I get on the phone with him. I was like, hey, what was his name? Mike, did you see your account? You're up 77%. And this guy cursed me off like you wouldn't believe. You would think that I just like slapped his mother. Like he was so heated. He goes, listen, and I'm going to take out all the curse words. I don't need you to make me 77%. I have more money than God. What I need you to do is not lose my money, because anything that has a 77% gain, how much risk did you take? You literally just put my money in harm's way. If you had 100 million of my dollars, what would happen? Say that went the opposite way. I would wake up one morning and lose $77 million because of you wanting to be a cowboy. He goes, you could close my account and send me my money back and don't ever call me again. Let this be a lesson. Talk about like your expectations for a phone call being completely opposite. but it stuck with me. And the reality is, those people that have money, they don't need you to make money. They have their money. They have what, they have what's working. They need you not to lose their money. They need you to offer them a return better than what the banks are doing. So from that stance, I've always learned, just offer someone moving in the right direction. Every day you're moving in the right direction. Don't scare anybody with volatility. Just move in the right direction every day. And it makes it a lot easier for me, right? Like, because if I put the pressure on myself that I need to make people 100% overnight, that's a lot of pressure. If I just have, all right, I just need to make sure that tomorrow is better than today, but not as good as the following day, that's a much easier bar to reach, a much easier standard to live by. That being said, we are going to make $1 bazillion, right? Like, that's the goal. But from here to there, steady is the course. It's going to be steady until it just gets out of control, and that's because we can't control it any longer. Well, I guess that's the definition, right? But because the billion coin will be exhausted. But everyone's going to know that before it happens, right? So there'll be a countdown, basically. Hey guys, we have 100 million coin left. It's happening. It's happening. Guys, we have 95 million coin left. It's happening. Wait till that day where I'm like, guys, we have like 75 coin left. In the next 5 minutes, this is going to explode. Who's ready? Let's just watch. And boom. Because we know it, we're able to calculate it along the way. So RHINO was always built that we have complete control of the calculus. We have complete control of, the messaging, the calculus, right? Like everything that's going to happen. And with a really good insight into behavioral economics and behavioral science, which, again, some of the decisions we made, although now we look at it as like, oh, that was a good decision. In what world does anyone ever offer something out and says, hey, I'm going to restrict the profit to 1% a day? What company that ever did anything financial on their marketing pitch was like, hey guys, we have this really great thing and we're going to make sure it doesn't go up too much ever in any short period of time? But all of these things meant something to where we are today. And I think now we look back and we're like, okay, well, duh, this makes sense. So just want to share, everything is going good. Monday and Tuesday, I'm going to be completely unavailable because I'm going to be putting together everything for the webinar on Wednesday. And regardless of how many attendants come to the webinar, that's not really the point, which obviously we would like that, right? But the point is what I'm going to put together is kind of like, if you can imagine that we're like a biotech company and we're showing our phase 3 results to the FDA. We're releasing data that's never been seen before. We're releasing data on a process that's never been done before. And in doing so, we're going to do it in such a respectful way, but a fun way, a market-y type way, but not with the marketing. And this is going to become the foundation of our marketing campaigns going forward. So I am quite hopeful that Wednesday goes well enough that I can record it and let that be its own lander, and then whoosh, because I also have a call in 32 minutes to get a yes out of someone. And I think I'll get a yes, I'm hoping, but that's going to be where the funds come for that marketing push. So let me go. Happy Saturday. I absolutely love everyone. Everything's going great. And I think that's cool. Maybe one of these days I'll come out and be like, oh my God, guys, things are going tough today. But probably not, because again, lastly, so I read this one book once where this person interviewed all the different successful people that have come from Harvard, like all the business owners and blah, blah, blah. And he found only one trait that joined them all. And they're from all different sexes, countries, colors, whatever. And it was that they were goal-oriented. And that sounds silly. But when you actually go ahead and write down a goal, then it's a saying, you live up to what you write down. And when you know how to write down goals in terms of allowing them to be attainable in not only scope, but in duration, then you get really good at it. So every single day at RHINO, and those that are a part of the various programs, and really everyone knows this, we'll have our goals. This is what we're trying to do for today. This is what we're trying to do for Tuesday. This is what we're trying to do for Wednesday. This is what we need to have done by Friday. And every single day we check them off. And it's not that each one of those goals brings us to where we want to go, but each one of those goals brings us closer. So as long as you know, I have these 10 goals, And by the time I accomplish goal number 10, I'll be where I want to be. Well, the only way you could get to goal 10 is by accomplishing goal 9, and so forth and so forth. And that starts with goal 1. And I was happy to read that because that's the way we live. So I just want to share that with you. If you're looking to kind of improve your success in anything, write it in goals. 1, 2, 3, go up to 20, go up to 30. Make the goal so simple, like get out of bed, make your bed. Sorry, I had like brain fart. I was like, make my bed, right? Okay, cool. All right, so this is the point where I have to get off because I'm sounding just completely babblish and silly at the point. But I love everyone, and I will see you Monday. And that's it. I'll talk to you later. Bye.